page. And always, sometimes I'm not always sure that we're live, and like on occasion we've gone for 5 and 10 minutes, and we were just muted. No one could hear us. So if you're out there, if somebody lets us know and chimes in on the comment section and let us know that you could hear us, that'd be awesome. And I'm going to kick it off. And, one of the things that is so important at this point in the school year, as we're winding down the first semester, well, I mean, it's important every day, but especially at this time of the year, is that whole concept of classroom and campus culture and keeping our school just a happy place where teachers are passionate and still full of energy. And thank you, Roxana and Diane. And in a place where kids are loved and teachers are loved, and making sure that family is happening. And when I thought about that, of all the people in the nation, I have my favorite principals out there, and I totally play favorites for sure. And in my mind, I don't tell anybody, but I have this like Mount Rushmore of favorite principals, and because of all that they do for supporting their teachers and their team and their family and their kids. And the person I thought, who we need to bring in is the lovely, the talented, the vivacious Stephanie McConnell. And Stephanie McConnell is one of those amazing principals that really, what I say is like she gets it. And what I mean by that is she's still connected with just how hard and exhausting this job and how emotional it is and how tired teachers are and how much they need to be recharged and fueled and help keep the fire lit and help them remember what their passion is. Stephanie, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here tonight.
I'm so glad. All right. So let me, all right. So here's a confession of mine. Here, full confession, kick it off with a confession. And that is, I'm fascinated and obsessed with your principals, the Facebook group, the website, the page, the blog, and all of that. I mean, the work that you're doing. I can't even figure out how you're getting it done. Like, it's so much and it's so good, and all that you give to your teachers and share with other principals and teachers, it's amazing.
Oh, yes, it is. I've enjoyed it over the years and getting to know everyone and seeing the names and, just following the people that are in my shoes as well. And we're making a big difference in the world, and it's just because we're in a great community and we're just sharing all of our resources together.
All right, before we get into all that you have going on with all that you do for your teachers and your kids and other principals across the nation, let me ask you this, because this is a big week out in Hawkins ISD, and you're still in the trenches, still a principal, and at Hawkins Elementary.
Yes.
And you guys had a big week. Tell us about the Today Show coming out to Hawkins ISD.
Yes, the Today Show just aired last Friday, and they appeared at our campus and did a big show over some students at our high school who, I don't know if you know this, but Ozarka Water is located in our community, and they had some bees on their property, and so we had to, they contacted our school to be able to create help with the bee population, because they knew that they couldn't have pesticides at the water plant. So they contacted our ag department and our ag classes, and FFA students went out, and now they're learning how to take care of the bees and produce honey. And so it is really a fascinating story. And so the Today Show came out and aired that. Of course, we've been in a lot of newspapers as well. And we're just very excited for these students who have made such a difference in our community, but also going to have great careers after high school, in going into the path of maybe being a teacher one day, or, going into, just being business women out there. And so they have learned so much. And so we're just excited for them and what they have been able to do over just this school year.
That's what it was, watching that show. First of all, it was just awesome to see in the gym, like the whole town, like every kid in the town's in the gym. And and the band and just everybody represented is amazing. And sitting there in silence while TV is going on, that was incredible. And then just to hear these young ladies to talk, like I get it, like they're in their young, I mean they're teenagers, but my God, I think you know what it is. It is in those ag classes. I think some people think they're just out there slopping around in the mud, but you know what they do in terms of communication and giving speeches and the memorization and the knowledge. Those are just deeply intelligent young women and super confident.
Very, very much so. We're just so proud of them, and I know that they're excited for their future, and we couldn't be more happier for them, and just there to witness this and part of their journey.
You know, every time I see a kid like that, like I can't, like, every time I cannot help myself. I always think about myself when I was in high school, and if the TV camera was on me, just there's no way I could communicate like that. I can't even do it now, and I'm 52 years
Yeah,
old.
me either. Me either.
That's right. I always get so self-conscious, thinking, "Man, I got to get my life together." That kid is 15.
Right.
And,
Right.
they're awesome. Hey, when you became a principal, here's what I want to ask, because I mean you're so effective at what you do right now. But when you came a principal, and you stepped in, and like you have the key ring, you have the keys to all the rooms, and in that moment, was it immediately where you thought, I really have to figure out how to bring these teachers together and this family together and build the culture on campus, or was it something you learned along the way?
Um, at first you think that you get into it because you're naive and just starting out, and you think you might know all the answers, where you find out real quick that you don't. And but I'm surrounded by people who want to help you succeed in life, and so I think I've had a great opportunity with the people that I have been able to have mentor me along the way, that have guided me and steered me in the right direction from the very beginning. And that is something that I hold dear to me, and I know that is part of my success, is having a good modeling of people in my life, and I can still continue to have those people surround me and just make sure I'm making the right decisions. And I think we all need that as leaders, is somebody to mentor and support you along the way.
Yeah, that is what I have found in my work across the nation with so many schools, is those those professionals that have figured out this leadership thing in their own way. Like there's that's the two things. One is they're completely authentic, like that's who they really are. They're not playing this role, this rah leadership role. Like they really have, like, whatever their style is, that's who they really are. And more important than that is every single one of them have this team of mentors and this mastermind group where they can constantly go to and ask questions and get feedback.
Absolutely. And you need that. I mean, I've certainly failed over the years that I've been a school leader, but I learned from those, and just kind of move forward from that. But definitely, I don't know all the answers. I still don't claim to know all of those, but I know one thing, that I'm here to do what's best for kids. And even if I make a mistake, it's a learning mistake, and it's not one that I'm ever going to give up on. And so you just kind of, it's a day by day thing. It's a situation by situation basis. And I still ask a lot of questions. And I think that's what we need to do as a leader. If you don't know, ask. And I have, like I said, people around me that I could ask, but also in these Facebook groups, thousands, over 30,000 other school leaders that we can draw on each other's experiences, because we all have different levels of leadership ability. And so it's just a great opportunity to ask questions and to get to know other people, but also learn how to handle something in a certain situation.
Yeah, and also I think there's that confirmation that you're not crazy.
Yes,
Absolutely.
absolutely.
Because I've been in so many meetings looking around, sitting thinking, am I the crazy one? But then I'll get on some reels later. No, I'm not. It's them. And that's what I love about your leadership group, that that you launched this thing, and with what, it was just you at first when you clicked, create the
Yes.
page, and then and how long did it take until you thought, oh my gosh, like we really have something here?
Oh, I really don't know when that moment was, because I am just blessed. Even when I had 5 people in the group, and when we hit 100, and then we hit 1,000, and now we're at 30,000 something people, and I'm still feel like I'm completely blessed. And so I don't know what that moment was, at a turning point, but
Yeah.
I cherish every person that's in the group and what value they bring to the table.
That when I'm traveling around the nation, and principals they're always asking me, looking for resources, ask what other principals are reading, and I bring up the principals leadership group on Facebook, and I explain to them what it is, and they're like, what? I said, where have you been, man? Because I explained to them, it's something like, you can think about the most complex issue that you've had this school year and get that in
Yeah,
your head. Now imagine posting that, and you get 100 solutions and ideas
absolutely.
and links.
Hmm.
And I said, now take the easiest thing. Let's say you want a new, updated, and fresh back to school parent night letter.
Hmm.
Who has one? And you get 100 copies.
Right.
It's from the most simple everyday thing to the most complex, layered, troubling things that you could imagine that could happen on campus. And there's hundreds of people that eat. But
Hmm.
what I love about it, it's sometimes it's theoretical, but most times it's from experience. That happened to us. Here's what we did, and here's what worked, and here's what the problem was.
Right. It's a
Yeah.
treasure box of
It,
resources that you don't have to pay for at all. You have an opportunity of a room full of people, and ask a question, and you get thousands of responses back, and it's just so valuable. I mean, it literally is a treasure box of people sitting in a room waiting to answer the question, or able or willing to share their resources. It's the best of the best in the world all in one place. So
it's
that's what makes
amazing.
it so great.
Yeah. Hey, with your particular campus at your school, there, I always tell people, it's just like a classroom where you can enter a classroom and you can take one step into a classroom and you can kind of tell what goes on. You can feel the vibe in the classroom. Schools are the same way for me.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
and if you've been in a ton of schools, you can cross the front doors and cross the threshold of that front door. And as soon as you step into a school, you can kind of feel it. And your school definitely is a special place where it feels a lot like, there's a feeling of home more than an institution, and feeling of love more than, that corporate feel. And I'm wondering, what do you think that is? Like, why does that happen for you and your teachers?
Well, I know one thing. If academics wasn't always there at the beginning, the love for the kids in the building has always been there.
Yeah.
I have a great group of staff members who, no matter what, they're going to put it all out there every single day for the kids, and just a wonderful community. And so I have to give it up to that. I don't think it's anything that I'm doing. All I'm doing is creating the path for them to be able to do that, to do what they need to do every day. But first and foremost, they're there every single day for the kids and putting in so much time and effort. And it's all because they are passionate and driven people on the campus that won't give up. I think they're some of the most amazing people are right there under the roof of the school. I couldn't ask for more.
I love it. And you know what else? I think in smaller communities like yours, because that's a close knit community, and not everybody thinks like
Absolutely.
every small community is close knit. That's not true at all.
Yeah.
There's a lot of
No.
divisiveness in some smaller communities. But in Hawkins ISD particularly, what I think helps a lot is when you teach in a giant school district where there's 150,000 students, like where I taught, when these kids leave elementary school, they might go to one of 5 different junior highs, and when you leave that junior high, there's a dozen different high schools they might end up, or a magnet program, or who knows where. but what's different about your district is those teachers know exactly where they're going, and they know they're going to see them on Thursday
Yes.
nights at basketball. They know they're going to see them on
Yes.
Friday nights at football, and they're going to be at the plays, and they always
Mhm.
come back. So, and lots of those kids, when they leave, I know every kid in every small town swears they're going to go to college or join the army or go to trade school, and they're not coming back. They move to Dallas or going to Houston, but they all come back. And
Mhm.
they know that these teachers know, I think maybe it's subconsciously, maybe in their heart, they know that these kids, they really are the leaders of that town sitting in their classroom today.
Absolutely. And they
And
want them. So, all the teachers, they're invested in these children because they are going to be the leaders of this community one day. And so they have a lot invested in it. And yeah, like you said, everybody knows everyone. And that's the great thing about living in such a small community is that you know everyone and you see them outside of school. That's a good thing and a bad thing sometimes. but but for the most part, everybody is just really a great family, and that is something that when I first came in, I wanted to make sure that the campus felt like a family, and we were there for the right reasons and doing the right things at all the time.
yeah, when when you were in high school and thinking back, well, or maybe it was before then, when did you know that you were going to be a teacher?
I didn't actually know I was going to be a teacher because I didn't go to college right out of high school. I didn't start college until my daughter was 5 years old and she started school. And once she started school, then I became, really interested in the education field. And then I started school. Went to school at night, and so I was home with my child during the day, and then went to school at night. And so that's kind of when I found out that I wanted to be a teacher, and I was a teacher for several years. And then I decided I wanted a bigger impact on my campus and what I could do to offer for students, because I thought I was successful as a teacher, and I felt some success, and I thought I could go ahead and venture into that other part of the world. And crazy as I was, and I love it. I think there's no other better job in the world suited for me than being a principal.
Hey, what when you left the classroom and stepped into administration, what was the biggest shock for you?
I went into being an assistant principal on the same campus that I was a teacher on. And
Uh-huh.
so that was a different environment, because I went from being the co-worker and colleague on the campus to now being in your classroom to evaluate you, and and in
Yeah.
meetings with you and leading meetings. And so they saw me in a different way. So it wasn't that I had any pushback or any hesitation on that. It was something that everyone was, of course, rooting for me to do well. It's just that I felt different, because now I'm working in this classroom beside you to now working in the office along with you, and being a leader for you.
I know, a lot of teachers, when they cross over to the other side, they have
Yeah.
that they have that moment where they'll describe where they walk into the break room or the teacher's workroom, and all the teachers sitting there eating lunch, and as soon as they walk in, everybody gets really quiet. Like,
It happens every time. And so you don't even go in there anymore.
right?
Back then when I first started, I'm like, okay, I'm not even going to walk in here during lunchtime because it's totally awkward. I know
Right.
you're talking about me. That's
Yeah.
okay.
Got to get it out, man,
That's
for
right.
sure. Let them process it. Yeah. Hey, tell me a little bit about because I know, I love it, but I honestly don't know anything about it. This process of achieving this national blue ribbon status, because you guys pulled that thing
Okay.
off.
That's right. Okay, so last year we received a call from our commissioner of education here in Texas, letting my superintendent know that that the commissioner was nominating us for the blue ribbon. And this is a prestigious award given to schools that are high performing. And so we went to what we had to do then was perform high again the following year, and so which we did, and then so that gave us the Blue Ribbon Award. And so we just actually went to Washington in November and received the award. And it was one of the most amazing things we have ever done. I am so blessed. My campus is blessed. And it was all, we received the award based off of closing the achievement gap of the students on our campus. And it was all on our state assessment called STAR here in Texas.
Yeah, there is as much as I'm like everybody. I don't like the standardized. I just don't, the whole standardized testing, and
Yeah.
I'm not a fan. But at the same time, as much as I don't like it, I'm really competitive. And if it's in place, if we have to do it, you can't, when you're in the school, you can't fight it. This is what you're going to do. There's other people that are working on what should be and what could be. My focus is, look, this is what we have. So let's do this thing. And it's got to be just amazing validation for your teachers that work so hard and love those kids relentlessly that they pull this thing off.
Absolutely. It is something that they've worked very hard to do. And I am just thrilled that they had the opportunity to be recognized. And I couldn't take everyone with me to Washington.
Right.
But what I did do is I took a picture of all my staff and all the students with me. And they were with me through every event that I went to. And I took pictures with me with them, and because I wanted them to be a part of it. But certainly they are the success behind that blue ribbon, and the students as well, because the students are the ones that actually took the assessment, but our teachers worked hard to get them there, and of course the parents as well. We had a great community support through the whole process, and of course the vision of our district was set in place by our superintendent, and he is the one that's kind of led the way that all this is happening, and so we're just truly blessed.
Yeah, and Morris Line is the superintendent, and I know when he was looking for an elementary principal, did you guys knew each other prior to this?
No, I didn't know him at all.
He just heard about you.
Well, the high school principal at the time, she was just hired that same year, and I knew her. She had happened to be my assistant principal at a previous school, and so she called and asked me if I would be interested. And at the time, I wasn't working as a principal. I was out doing principals and presenting. And she called and asked me would I be interested in applying, and I said I'd get back to you. A week later, and she's calling me. She says, I haven't heard back from you. And I said, okay, let's talk about it. And so after talking to her for a little bit, she convinced me and shared with me some of the great things that were happening there. And so I thought, well, this is worth hearing a little bit more about. So then that's how I ended up in Hawkins, is that, she's the one that urged me to come and apply.
Yeah. Hey, Christine has a question, and she's one of my faves. And Christine says, we were talking about how it can be uncomfortable making that transition from teacher to administrator on the same campus. And her question is, what do you do to alleviate any of that tension?
I think it may just come down to just good conversations. That I'm just happened to be at a place where they wanted you to succeed, and so they were very supportive, and they also understood that I was in a different role and different capacity, and I wanted them to be successful as well. And so if it's all about servant leadership, and so I wanted to make sure that I served them in a different capacity. as from a teacher to now as their assistant principal. And so I think that if they see that you're wanting them to be successful, then that awkwardness kind of goes away, because they see you as wanting to help and not be in a awkward kind of situation or a relationship with them.
Yeah, I think it's so true. Like that, those every time that's the example I see, or those new administrators that they provide so much evidence that
Yes,
they're authentically there to serve, and like whatever that is. And the
exactly.
more evidence that they can provide, the more they walk the walk. Because everyone, so many people that are good at the talk, and they're good at the message, and they're good at the emails, and they could put up the fancy, inspirational sign. But there's work, and I think when teachers
Absolutely.
see that authentic work and serving them, so that they can do a better job and teach more effectively, more efficiently in their classrooms, that's when the tension kind of subsides over time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, they see you giving it all you have every single day. They're willing to do that too and give you that support that you need.
Yeah. Hey, talk to me about this morale magic. I love that. Now, first of all, so you have this, what is it? It's not a book. What is it? What would you describe it? Morale magic.
It's a book. This is an ebook.
Uh-huh.
But Morale Magic was written by me and a lady named Christine. And Christine and I decided one day that we needed to, we're both in love with boosting morale and know the impact that it has on the campus. And so we sat down and we said, well, first of all, some people want to boost the morale on the campus, but they don't know how to do it. And then some times, the things that might stand in the way of having computer skills or having the technology to be able to do things is kind of hindrance for some people. And so I thought, well, let's put that aside and let me do the graphic part of it and things like that. So Morale Magic is two things. It's a book and it's all the activities that go along with it. So it's about 500 pages of a book and all the resources. So you can set out and say, okay, January is coming. Let me hear all the activities for January. It's all printable for you. So you just download what you want and you can edit it and then go out there from that. But what is great about it is you're hearing our voice behind a lot of things about our success on campus or our failures that are on campus, and just great advice for other school leaders that are doing what we're doing.
Yeah, and here's what I love about it. There's something to do to fuel teachers. And it's like month by month, so it's somewhat thematic in parts. And it takes the guesswork, because that's the hard part. Like, okay, what do we do now? Or like, oh my gosh, that bulletin board has been up for 2.5 years. Like maybe,
Right.
but it's
Right.
not a big deal to change it if we had an idea, and what it
Right.
is, you provide all the ideas, and then it's customizable so they can do it however they really want to do it, but they, give them the idea. And also what I love sometimes, like we were talking about before we went live, is there's this feeling that if we're going to provide something for teachers, whether it's inspiration or motivation or whatever, like it has to be this giant mountaintop hallelujah moment,
Right.
when really it's just a tiny thing here and regularly, to let people know that you're thinking about them and that you care, and that you see them working hard.
Right. Absolutely. And most of the things that are so meaningful and intentional and or don't cost anything. Last week I sent every teacher, every staff member a card, and I hand wrote it out where I explained to them what they mean to me and thanking them for that and what they bring to the campus. And that costs me nothing but my time. And you will not believe how much that has, those cards that they read have come back to me by coming in and having conversations with me about what that meant to them at that
Yeah.
moment, because what they were going through that day, they needed to hear those words. And so it's just the littlest things. And like today's Monday, so they got to wear jeans today, which they don't typically get to wear jeans on Mondays. And so it's just the little things that cost nothing, but it's just to let them know that they're cared and valued.
Yeah. And also what it does, it brings the fun back. Like I think sometimes we forget this whole thing is supposed to be fun. But with
Absolutely.
all the collecting of data and the analysis and the synthesis of the data and
Yeah.
then and projections and how's this kid going to do, and we need 2 more passers in this subgroup, it makes it so difficult. We forget, man, where was the fun? Like, remember when this thing was fun? And that's what I love about what your work does and Morale Magic. It brings that fun back to the campus, and it provides opportunities for teachers to do what they've always wanted to do, and that is just to make a difference in the lives of their kids. All right, now I'm on a rant. I'm starting to sweat. Okay, now what I love about it is that what you're doing and what administrators like you are doing, you're modeling exactly what we hope to see in our teachers. Like, you're providing opportunities for teachers to be great and making a difference in their lives, which is what we really want to do, what we want for our teachers to be doing for their kids. And so you're showing it so you can grow it in the teacher, and that way they see it so they can be it for their kids.
Absolutely, because I know that if the teachers are happy and they love coming to work every day, it will trickle down into the students as well, because the teachers are going to be excited to be in the classroom and do what they do every day. And that itself will impact student achievement, and that's what we want. We want our students to be successful and achieve great success in the school. So it starts with me as the leader to make that all happen and to create that path for them.
Man, that's so true. I think that's one of the things we forget about, where like we can come up with the most elaborate, complex, strategic plans for educating kids, but if it's not built on a foundation of happiness and passion and love and excitement and inspiration, none of it really matters, because everyone's going to burn out and nothing's going to happen.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's right. The students have to know that you care, and that you love them, and that everything that you're doing is from the heart. And sometimes things are just intentional, and some things are just come up as they happen. And either way, it all works out for the best.
Yeah. Hey, talk to me real quick about I know that you and the superintendent out there, Morris Lyon, you guys have some stuff going on where you have been, I know last semester you've been presenting, and I'm sure you'll do that again. Tell me what that event's all about.
We have created we're just sharing our story, our vision of our district, and we teach other school leaders and your instructional teams how to create an instructional vision that, and we tell our story, how we went from low performing to a high performing school by putting strategies in place and systems in place that are really giving the highest impact. And so we're teaching that. And so we knew that not everyone could attend the live conferences. So what we did is created it now in a course that you could hear us on, through the computer, and you can get all of our resources that you would get at a live event. We have done that because we've had such a great, urgency from other people around the world that just physically could not travel here to Texas or even close to Texas, because they were in other countries or other states, and it just wasn't feasible for money wise. So we created that course called Discover Your Instructional Vision. And if you go to Principles to the website, you will see that listed there if you're interested in it. But we've had great success through that, and we just wanted to share our vision and what we're doing so that other school leaders out there can take advantage of that as well.
Yeah. What I love about it is it provides, the vision is that, first of all, this is possible and it's happening, and other schools have done it. So can you, and providing them with a roadmap to get there. And of course, like, it's all customizable. Like, of course, they can't do exactly what you guys did, but the steps are in place and the phases are in place. And here's what's first and what's second. And then they can customize it to fit their kids. So it's demographically appropriate for their kids and their teachers on campus.
Well, you're good. And the thing is, you're going to get everything that I use, and every time I create something on my campus, it goes into that file, and so you get that as well. So it never stops growing. So you're going to always constantly get more as you go along the process. And also, there's if you're in the group, principals group, you get that feedback and coaching, and also Zoom calls along the way too. So we're here to support other school leaders to help them be successful too.
Yeah. Hey, one thing I wanted to ask you about, I'm not sure what you guys call it. Every district calls it something different, but you guys started a few years ago where you were visiting classrooms as a leadership team. And tell me what you call that when you guys are visiting classrooms and popping in.
Well, we have hawk walks and leadership walks, and so we're the hawks, and so we do the leadership walks, and we just go around and we go into classrooms as a team. And what we're doing is it's not to evaluate teachers at that moment, but we're going in and just looking at what is working in the classroom and what we can do better as a school leader to help our teachers and to help our students. And so we're just collecting data. And so it seems to be really working, and we're getting great success from that. And I think it's making a big difference.
I'm wondering, was that awkward for teachers at first when they had the leadership team at the district level and the campus level step into the classroom?
Oh, absolutely. They when it's not been something in place over the years,
Yeah,
of course they do, and they will hyperventilate just a little bit when you walk in. And so
sure.
you just have to reassure the teachers that they're not being evaluated. And now it's no problem.
Yeah, they're
Not
used to
only
it
are,
now. It's like a part of the deal now.
yeah, it's just part of the campus and the collaboration that's happening. But we have a lot of schools that come and visit, and so they're used to a lot of adults being in the room, and so it's just natural for them to see other people on campus.
And now it's a prestigious thing when people are coming around from state, the nation, and see what's happening in your school. I mean,
Yeah.
it feels good to show off a little bit for a teacher.
It does. It does. It's not for me. I am just so excited for the teachers and the students in the classroom.
Yeah.
And so it's really neat to see my teachers get recognized for what they're working so hard for.
Yeah. And then what's the difference between the leadership and the hawk walk? Is there anything different between the?
Yes. Yeah, the hawk walks would be where the teachers put student work outside the classroom with a state standard posted to it, which our state standards are the TEKS. And what we're asked to do is to see if there's an alignment between the work, the task, and the standard, and then also the students are writing a reflection. So that's a kind of hawk walk. And what we're doing is making sure that there's a rigorous level there in something that's between the task and what the students are supposed to do in the state standard. I think I'm rambling now, but that's the gist of it.
Hey, here's what I want to know, and to finish it up with this, because when you have this metaphorical trophy case of all the stuff that go on. I mean, it's a blue ribbon school now, and you went from low performing to high performing, and people are talking about the district and talking about the campus, and you have that. Like, what are you excited about next?
Oh
Is there
gosh.
anything on the horizon where there's something you want to turn around or something you want to add? Like, it's already great and you want to make it even better. Anything like that?
I think there's always room to grow, no matter what. I think everybody sees the Pinterest of a school,
Yeah.
the good things that you want to share, but there's always stuff to grow that we don't talk about in public, but we talk about in closed doors. Those things still happen. We're still a typical school with typical problems that everybody else goes through. But for the most part, we are doing very well. So I'm not sure where we're going next, but I'm excited whatever that may be. We're still on the high of just receiving the award and being on the Today Show last week. So I'm not sure exactly what I want to do next.
That's I love that point because it's a National Blue Ribbon School. They're on the Today Show. I mean, the whole thing. People come to visit, but when it comes down to it, crazy stuff. It's still a school,
Yeah,
and anytime you have
yeah,
hundreds of kids in one place at one time, crazy stuff is gonna happen because they're kids.
absolutely.
And
We
it and
still
so,
have
and
kids
so
come to the office every day, get
yeah,
in trouble, but
sometimes
just
it
like
ain't pretty.
everyone else.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, Tony Hull chiming in. By the way, she's on the Mount Rushmore with you. Tony Hull from Las Cruces, New Mexico, and she wants you to know that she loves principals.
Hi, Tony. Nice to see you.
Hey, listen, Stephanie, thank you so much for hanging out with us. We really,
You're
really appreciate
welcome.
all the work that you do, not just for your town and your teachers and your kids, but just allowing everyone, through Facebook and through your Facebook group and all your work kind of peek into what you have going on and let that serve as an instructional pathway and inspiration for other schools around the world. It is awesome.
Thank you. Thank you. It's
Yeah.
my pleasure. I love doing it.
All right. Thank you so much. Take care.
Thank you. Thank you. You too.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.